once again for the 12th installment of the 815 Exchange. Spooky season is in full effect. For those that care about astrology, I guess it's also Scorpio season, so you can feel how you feel about one of that. A lot of stuff happening in sports. This is going to be a good episode. Plenty to talk about. A lot of interesting things. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to title this already ahead of time. But, as always, before I jump right into the first topic of the day, special thanks to you guys. Appreciate the support. Numbers have been up, so that's great. My YouTube studio has been looking phenomenal. But yeah, thanks for all the love and support. Hope to keep growing the channel. Got some things brewing. I'm always thinking ahead for those that don't know. Always thinking about the future. Always thinking about what comes next. And got a couple ideas circling around that I'll hopefully be able to put into fruition very soon. But without further ado, I must remind you, switch it up. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, leave feedback. Of course, it's the People's Podcast. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear. And yeah, kind of somewhat pertains to the idea. But anyway, for real this time, without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to the combat sports world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have plenty to talk about here. Really, for the past 2 weeks, I had plenty to talk about in the combat sports world. Before I hop into what is going to probably be partially the title and the major thing that happened in combat sports, I'll quickly speak about boxing. We got 2 big matchups coming up this week. We got Alexander Usyk, former undisputed, unified cruiserweight champion of the world, one of the best cruiserweights of all time, taking on Derek Chisora in his second heavyweight matchup. This is a very big match for Usyk. If he can prove that he can take on one of those top levels, I mean, he beat, I think, Chaz Witherspoon, who's not really one of those top 5 heavyweights, but Chisora, he's around, I believe, that 5, 6, 7 range. If Usyk can put up a very good performance against Chisora and get that win, he's going to be very close to a title shot against the Joshua or Tyson Fury, the #1 ranked heavyweight in the world currently. Of course, we're still hoping for that Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury unification bout. Hopefully that'll come sometime early next year or whenever. Definitely want to see. I know there's a lot of belts in boxing, and for the casual fan, that can be a lot to keep up with. And even just as a regular boxing fan, it's better to see the best take on the best. The guys that have the belts take on the other guy has the belt, so we can get a definitive who's the best person in that division. You always love to see that. I think this generation, especially after what happened with Tio, we're gonna see more of that start to happen. Not so much orchestrated matchups and guys kind of ducking each other. I think we'll see the best go after the best, because I think that competitive spirit, not that it ever really left, but it's kind of returning to the fold in boxing. But yeah, Usyk and Chisora, I'm going to refrain from making picks here, and I'll just kind of speak on the matchups. But definitely an intriguing matchup. I'll definitely try to see if I can get that one. The other major boxing event matchup this week, of course, we got Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz, super featherweight and a lightweight title on the line. Once again, I said the lightweight division last week was my favorite division in boxing. It's possibly the most exciting right now for boxing fans, perhaps. This is another intriguing matchup. Leo Santa Cruz has been one of the best super featherweights in the world, if not arguably the best, for the past 5 or so almost years. So him taking that step up to lightweight is very interesting. Definitely a nice, very good competition. I think there's going to be a very competitive fight, especially for Tank, as he now moves into really fighting the big dogs in that division, fighting the Lomas or the Lopez's, or so on and so forth, really proving his status there and possibly setting up that Teofimo Lopez matchup if he can get the win here against Leo Santa Cruz. Very interested to see. I think this is a step up in competition also for LSC. Again, like I said, I'm not doing predictions here because I can't really tell you who I think is going to win. I would probably favor Javante though, but just want to see some good fights this week. Boxing seems to, we had a little kind of down stretch where interest was kind of plateauing, but I think more fights like these two, I think we're starting to get back into, the interest is starting to rise again for boxing. And yeah, two exciting matchups, definitely be looking forward, probably recap those next week. But yeah, Tank Leo, Usyk and Chisora, so if you're for boxing, both of those. I think Usyk and Chisora is on Friday, and Tank and Leo is on Halloween, which is Saturday. Okay, with all of that said, the major news in combat sports, ladies and gentlemen, was UFC 254, Fight Island, once again, Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. Went exactly how I thought. I know a lot of people were starting to rally around Gaethje and thinking he could possibly pull off the upset, but it was never in doubt for me. Khabib went in there and does what Khabib does. The pressure he put on was insane. I think as we got later on into his career, Khabib really became an underrated striker. I know his grappling, best in the world, his wrestling, all this stuff, all of it coming from his Sambo background. But his striking was really underrated, I think, especially there as an end. Khabib really became a very complete fighter to me. And the pressure he put on against Justin's known for being one of the best strikers in that division, and Khabib was putting it on. He was giving him that pressure. Gaethje never really looked like he got comfortable in there, and then again, Khabib got him to the ground. I know we heard all this stuff about the D1 wrestler Gaethje, him taking points from the Jordan Burroughs, who's a legend in the wrestling world. But yeah, Khabib, he's just too dominant once again. Got him in the choke, very impressive grappling, showcased once again. Gaethje was a good sport about it, got right about it. Gaethje's a killer. And especially with the big news happening after the fight that Khabib was retiring. Lightweight is looking really wide open for the UFC. A lot of really good fighters are going to have a lot of opportunities there. It's going to be very exciting to see how the UFC manages that, who ends up taking the title, so on and so forth. Pertaining to Khabib's retirement, as I kind of move on to talking about his legacy, obviously he's one of the greatest of all time, if not, well, I'll say one of the greatest of all time, I'll pertain. He's the lightweight, at least. 155 though, I think that's pretty undisputed. Pound for pound best in the world. At 32 he retires, goes out on top. The most dominant fighter in the world right now. The best fighter in the world, I know I just said that, but still. 29-0, a lot of people were wondering around 30-0, a lot of people were talking about GSP. I don't think that GSP fight was ever going to happen, nor did I want to. I think I was in the unpopular section of this, but I did not want to see Khabib versus GSP. I didn't. There was nothing. GSP's been retired for how many years now? He's over 40. It's not. It wouldn't be the same as prime GSP versus Khabib at 165, 170, or whatever. It wouldn't be the same. So I wasn't really looking forward to that. I know it might have been like GOAT versus GOAT, but I wasn't really hyped for that. But Khabib, like Khabib said, he beat everybody. Of course, El Kokoy, that was the fight to make, but then Gaethje went and took out Tony, and I don't think Tony would have put up much of a fight anyway against Khabib. Despite many people's claims about the stylistic matchup out of it, but still, don't think El Kokoy had anything for him. Yeah, Khabib beat everybody, cleaned out the division pretty much. nothing left for him to prove. Yeah, I almost got a little choked up, got a little emotional. Even though I knew it was coming, I knew his retirement was coming. Still kind of sucks to see such a great talent, a generational talent, you know, kind of go out in his prime when there was still more for him to give. But you know, I can't fault the decision. Him losing his father who was a massive, a big influence on his life. Not even just his career and his style, just his life. And that's really just for anybody losing parents or any kind of close family member. That's always tough. But Khabib and his father had a very special relationship, and I know that was tough for him. I know he said his mother didn't even want him to come out and fight. And Khabib strikes me as the type of person, he's not going to go against that promise that he made to his mother that this will be his last fight. I think those gloves laying down in the ring as he left really symbolized something, meant something. This was the end of his era. This was the end of his time. He will absolutely be a UFC Hall of Famer. One of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I think that's unanimous, like I said. Like I said, beat everybody. Gaethje, Dustin, Conor, Al, and Barboza were his last, this 5-fight winning streak going back to 2017. Those were his last 5 fights. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, especially in that division. 29-0, undefeated, never bled, never looked like he was really in trouble, just completely unblemished. Undisputed, the king is gone. And we'll see, you know, congrats to Khabib on a great career. It's been a pleasure watching you. You've provided us MMA fans with memories to last a lifetime. And good luck in retirement. I'm sure he'll go into coaching. I think he'll still be around the sport, but I think his competition days are over. In other news on that same UFC 254 card, we had Volkov beat Walt Harris in the heavyweight matchup. Walt is a great guy, but he's just he's not a great fighter, to tell you the truth, to be completely honest here. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just not that upper tier to be fighting, I guess, as high as he was. Great story, great guy. He's an alright fighter, but he's not one of those elite heavyweights. Volkov is only 32, which really surprised me. If he can refine some stuff, put in some performances like he did against Walt Harris, he could definitely start making some noise again and get back up to a title match against Stipe or Nagani, who I will also eliminate about. That's clearly the obvious matchup to make for me. But I know Stipe probably needs some time off after the DC fight, whatever. But nonetheless, that's the matchup to make. Volkov, I think he'll start to rise back up the rankings here. Of course, in the co-main event, and I will end off the MMA/combat sports portion. Robert the Reaper Whitaker is back for real this time. He takes out the Killer Gorilla Jared Cannonier. I said Rob was going to win, so no surprises here. Rematch coming with Izzy. Cannonier, I thought he was going to show me a little bit more. He made it really threatening there at the end of that third round, but Rob really put in a great performance, looked like he was in control essentially the whole time. And yeah, that Rob versus Izzy fight coming out whenever Dana decides to make it will be very, very intriguing. Because it was a pretty competitive fight for that first round and up to when Izzy entered the Matrix and put Rob to sleep. It was a good little fight, so we'll see what happens there. We'll see what adjustments Whitaker makes. We'll see Adesanya if he can continue his dominance and his reign over the middleweight division, and add to what will surely be probably a Hall of Fame career for him. And yeah, that is all for comments. The next topic, ladies and gentlemen, here on episode 12, I'm splitting up the footballs today, so we're going to head straight into college football. A lot happened because the Big Ten is back, ladies and gentlemen. But before I get to the Big Ten, of course, I go to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. University of Charlotte is my home. It's where I am right now, so I say I'm live from the 704. We finally were able to play a game, no COVID, thank you. And we got the dub, 38-28. I was at this game against UTEP. If you follow me on social media, you probably saw that. Very solid game. UTEP did a great job in that first half. I was a little worried, not gonna lie. Our run defense was shocking. And UTEP did a great job moving the ball. We struggled. Our wide receivers, Victor Tucker, who's in Cam Dollar, who are guys that are all conference level players. I think Vic Tucker is eventually going to be an NFL player. Really struggled in that first half, and it wasn't great. But Coach Healy, I think, is one of the best coaches in, I guess, that non-Power 5 section, the Group of 6 or whatever you want to call it, of college football. I think he's one of the best emerging coaches, one of the best young coaches. The energy and culture he's created here in Charlotte has really been something special, and really revamped the entire program and has us trending way upwards. And yeah, made the necessary adjustments. We came firing out in that second half and played much better. Chris Reynolds had a great game. Special shout out to another 336 product, Lance McMillan. Had the best game I've ever seen Lance play, whether that's at Grimsley or here, to be honest. Pick, a fumble recovery, had some tackles. Much improved second half, and that really got us the win. Don't know what the bowl situation is going to be this year, but of course you want to continue to build upon our success from last year, making our first ever bowl game, winning 6 games. Hopefully we can keep that momentum going into this year, and wins like this are big steps. So big shout out to the guys. Proud of them, and hopefully we can keep it going. So, as I started the college football section, I said the Big Ten is back. Well, the first game of the Big Ten being back, we have Wisconsin taking on Illinois. And my goodness, even though Wisconsin got some bad news, which I'll hit to after I talk about this, some bad news yesterday or last night per se. Wisconsin handled business against Lovie Smith in Illinois, 45-7. Graham Mertz. Oh my goodness. I knew Mertz was the real deal. At the Army All-American game, he showed out and he really impressed me. He went back and looked at his high school film. Looked like Wisconsin was going to have themselves a quarterback, and it looks like they're going to have themselves a QB, which is contrary from the normal. Wisconsin has this amazing alignment, this amazing running back, and that's how they go and so forth. Mertz looked phenomenal. 20 for 21, 5 TDs. He was spectacular. Redshirt freshman. Very interesting to see how this Wisconsin team does this year. But news came out last night. Mertz actually tested positive for coronavirus. So we'll see if it was a false positive. He has to get that second and third test. Big Ten has a different type of mandate concerning positive COVID cases than the other conferences, where you have to miss 3 weeks, which is pretty hefty, and would do a lot of damage, especially with how integral it looks like Mertz is going to be to that Wisconsin team this year. That would be a big hurt for the next 3 weeks, and what looks like it's going to be a pretty competitive Big Ten schedule. So we'll see how that goes, but Mertz shows out. Clemson had their annual scare game against Cuse. Syracuse seems to a lot of times be this team that has this like voodoo against Clemson, and Clemson always struggles. But yeah, Etienne had 3 TDs. Trav threw his first pick 6 of his career at Clemson, I'm pretty sure. Andrew Booth continues to play like one of the best quarterbacks in America. And Clemson wins 47-21, so the score makes it look like, I think, this was a typical blowout, but this was absolutely not the typical blowout. Cuse played him close. Rex Culpepper threw 3 picks, however, and you can never really win a game where the quarterback's going to throw 3 interceptions and turns the ball over this much. But Cuse gave him a scare, gave him a very competitive game. Clemson had to overcome some adversity here. And we've seen them dominate pretty much all season, and they're expected to dominate all season. But it is important for them as a team, if they want to play in these playoff games and these national championship games, that they face some type of adversity throughout the regular season to help build that character. Though most players on that team already have championship game experience and quite a bit of big game experience, still important to kind of keep them humble, keep them still in stride here. So Clemson gets the win, but it was close. Ohio State, the number 3 team in the country, takes out Nebraska 52-17. Justin Fields is back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad that the Justin Fields slander is over, even though it wasn't really slander, it was more just disrespect. I saw a lot of people starting to say, oh, Trey Lance might be, on the same tier as Justin. No, absolutely not. It's always been Lawrence and Fields. I tweeted this out, actually. I think during the Ohio State game, I'll pop it up, I think it goes here. Yeah, I think Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence could probably be the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird of football. And I mean that by Magic and Bird, same draft class, we know about them in college, all that stuff. And how they're kind of compared and matched up against their whole careers. Fields and Lawrence have already been at that. They were the number 1 and number 2 recruits in the nation. They came from the same state. Fields actually, after the opening before their senior year, took the number 1 spot, even though Lawrence ended up back in it. Took the number 1 spot from Trevor. And yeah, they've always been kind of compared. They've always been in this back-to-back, competition, a very healthy rivalry, I think, between them, the two. Friends in real life. And yeah, 2 really, really good, 2 of the best quarterback prospects I think we've had in a long time. 2 special talents, and yeah, it's going to be fun to be able to see how they do this season, and fun to see how they do the rest of their career. But yeah, Fields did his thing, 3 total touchdowns, 330 yards total. I also said Ohio State and Bama have the best receiving corps in the country. I will pop that tweet up. I can pop it up now. I might bring it back against when I talk about Bama. But yeah, Ohio State's receivers are absolutely ridiculous. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Julian Fleming, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's the guy that made that gravity-defying catch. They also got G. Scott. It's just a ridiculous talent. Shout out to Brian Hartline, because he's doing work over there as receivers coach. And yeah, best receiving corps for my bargain in America. And it really, I mean, as great as Fields is, I have to give some credit to those receivers because they're absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Ohio State's done a great job putting weapons for Fields to play with and toy with. And yeah, they toyed with the Nebraska defense on Saturday. Moving on, we got Carolina versus State. 48-21, Carolina won. Javonte Williams and Michael Carter continue to be quite possibly the best running back duo in the country. Williams had 160, Carter had 103. For those that can do math, that's 263 yards combined rushing. They also had 4 touchdowns combined, 3 for Williams, 1 for Carter. Dominant performance by them. I know Sam Howell was the one that got the preseason hype as the Heisman contender, as the superstar, but Williams and Carter have really been playing like superstars, really been looking like, they have very bright NFL futures ahead of them, and been one of the best running back duos in the country, if not the best, as I stated. Special shout out to another 336 product. Devin Boykin made his first start by former quarterback back at Rice High School. So another great 336 product shining on the big stage here. Had I think 3 tackles I saw or whatever. But yeah, nice to see him pulling for the city. Special player for State. He was the ACC freshman to watch for this year for NC State. So proud to see him get his first start. He's going to be a great player for them. So moving on, we have K-State murders Kansas 55-14. Chris Kleiman, all I want to say about this one, Chris Kleiman is doing a great job. He was at North Dakota State previously. He's proven why he was so highly, looked at as a coach trying to make that jump from FCS to FBS. Because he's doing wonders with that K-State program post-Snyder, climbing, really got them ranked, got them looking really good. And yeah, beat the crap out of your rival. It's always nice to see. Shout out to my Wildcat fans. Bama, 48-17 against Tennessee. The big news, however, from that game, Jalen Waddle, the human cheat code, one of the best receivers in the country, one of the top receiving prospects in this year's draft, fractured his ankle. He's done for the season. Hate to see it. Happened on the first play of the game, on the kick return. Hate to see it. He's special talent. Hope the best for his recovery. I think he's going to miss the combine too. So just rough circumstances. If he can get fully healthy, I know this is probably going to drop his draft stock a little bit, but if he can get fully healthy, somebody's going to get a very, very special player. So special shout out to Waddle, and hoping the best for him. Mac Jones is playing himself into a first-round quarterback, 386 yards passing, I believe. Another great performance for him. Bama's had this string of pretty good quarterbacks. It looks like that might be emerging here. This is going from Tua to Mac and eventually to Bryce Young. This could be something special for Bama. But Mac Jones playing well above my expectations of him. Looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Najee Harris, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing else to say there, man. You know the drill by now. Scored a couple touchdowns. One of the best backs in the country. Is going to make some NFL team very, very happy. Next, we had Oklahoma State in a matchup between two ranked teams. Oklahoma State, who is the highest ranked team in the Big 12, won 24-21 over Brock Purdy and the Iowa State Cyclones. Chuba Hubbard with 139 on the ground. Oklahoma State's defense, I know we don't hear this a lot from Big 12 teams, but Oklahoma State's defense really putting on. Definitely something to watch out for. They're, I think they're ranked 6th right now, so on the doorstep of that college football playoff. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Indiana versus Penn State, one of the games of the week. Indiana pulls off the upset in overtime. I feel for that Penn State kicker at the end of regulation. 57-yarder. He came just a yard short. I can't really fault him though, or be mad at him, because it wasn't his fault. Sean Clifford had 357, 4 touchdowns. Did have, I think, 2 picks in the game. Devin Ford scores that touchdown by accident. That happened twice in football this week, where guys trying to get down the goal line accidentally score. And it ends up costing both of these two teams that I'm mentioning the game. Penix with, he turned into Mr. Fantastic. Stretches out. You can say if you thought that he actually got that touchdown or not. It was very, very close. I was a little bit on the fence either way. But yeah, Penix gets the win for Indiana. It was a great game to watch. Big loss for Penn State. They took a pretty steep stumble down the rankings. They got Ohio State next week, so they could start off 0-2 and unranked already. And I don't know if that's truly representative of that team's talent, but that might be what happens. Michigan in College Game Day's game of the week. Creams Minnesota 49-24. Jalen Milne looks like he's the quarterback there. 15 for 22, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game for Milne. Great game for Michigan, actually. Pretty complete team performance. Bateman rocking a 0 now for Minnesota. He had a pretty good game, but the boat was not to be rowed in the big house. And well, they weren't in the big house. They're at Minnesota, but the boat will be rowed to the big house, should I say. Good one for Michigan. Of course, we've seen how Michigan's gone throughout the past couple of years. Not going to put too much stock, but Harbaugh took off the khakis. Maybe, it's a mythical coach. Maybe that's more success without the khakis. We'll see. Since he took out SMU, top 10 team. Des Ridder, do the ground, quarterback Des Ridder for Cincinnati, 8 attempts, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns. Phenomenal performance. SMU's receivers dropped all kinds of balls. It was just a bad performance for them. Cincinnati rolls. They're looking kind of threatening. They're the top team in the American, it appears. We'll see what happens there. BYU, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson goes 19 for 25, 287, 4 touchdowns. As BYU wins 52-14 against Texas State. Wilson continues to prove himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. And lastly, in college football, we had Rutgers take out Michigan State 38-27. Not two ranked teams, but shout out to Greg Schiano doing wonders for that Rutgers program, really starting to revitalize that and get them back up to speed. Rutgers historically a very weak football program, unlike pretty much every other sport for them. But Rutgers might be back on the map. Michigan State is down bad. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Not looking good for them. Not at all looking good for them. And yeah, that's college football. Alright, moving on to music and film. Like I said, splitting up the footballs. I finished Lucifer in a week. Yes. I guess I had time. Lucifer. Yeah, pretty good series. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely be watching. I guess season 6 is what they're filming now. But yeah, I get the hype around it. I get some of the acclaim. I get why they wanted to get saved by Netflix. And yeah, I like kind of Netflix's format of the lesser episodes, even though season 5 was kind of cut short because of COVID. And I guess they're doing like a season 5 part 2, and then they'll do season 6. But yeah, this is a good series. I recommend it. Like I said, if you're looking for a type of that kind of a little bit of an action comedy, a little bit of that, some detective work. Yeah, it's just a nice little show to watch. So yeah, shout out to the people. Tom Ellis, great actor, phenomenal actor. Next, let's see. Oh, I watched Borat 2. I don't know how I didn't mention it. I don't think I mentioned it last week. But yeah, I watched Borat 2 when it came out on Friday. You know, I had to get around to watching that. Had to check something real quick. But yeah, a very funny film. I mean, I think if you've seen the first Borat, you kind of know what this is. You know how this is gonna go. Sacha Baron Cohen, a phenomenal actor. Special shout out to the actress that played his daughter, Maria Bakalova. She, I mean, did a great job playing off of Sasha. Made for a very entertaining movie, very interesting movie. All the usual stuff you'd expect out of Borat, with a little bit more, a lot of stuff that, you know, I probably can't say on this podcast, or I'm going to get demonetized, or won't be able to be monetized. But yeah, if you know how Borat goes and you haven't watched it yet, highly recommend you do it. Highly entertaining film. Special shout out to Bakalova, of course, and Sacha Baron Cohen. Great job by them, and yeah. Also, I guess in TV, I did start The Legend of Korra, I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I'm trying to let it appreciate it as a separate entity from ATLA, and not try to hold it to that standard, because that's a very high standard. But it's off to a pretty good start. It's got my interest, so we'll see how it goes. 4 seasons. We'll see if I can finish that in a week also. But yeah, start The Legend of Korra. Interesting world building there. They've done a lot of world building and introducing you to characters, which is usually how first season goes. So I'll let y'all know about that as I go on my journey of that. In music, we finally had something happen this week. I had a couple things happen. Jack Harlow dropped Tyler Herro. Listen, I've been hip to Harlow. So I'm not surprised. I know he's going to get a lot of hate when he blew up. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm from Louisville, and I've been listening to Harlow since, 2017. I think I caught Harlow when right when What's Poppin' dropped. Like, it hadn't even hit like 500,000 views or anything. It was like 10,000 views. And it was just happened to be in my YouTube recommended. So, felt on that whole look back in his back discography. And he's good. He's good. It's not like a gimmick. It's nothing. He's legitimately good. There's no real limitations or section I would place him in. Harlow can spit. And he had a great track. Scott Storch and Boy Wonder, I know, did the production for Tyler Herro. Did a great job. Herro was actually in the video. Great music video as well. I enjoyed the music video too. And yeah, Harlow's on the come up. Very interesting to see how his career goes. I wonder if this will be the start of kind of him starting to build up to possibly another album. I know we got the one that was pretty good earlier this year. But yeah, Harlow on the up and up. Tyler Herro, great song. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend it. Dolla Sign also dropped. I think it's called Featuring Dolla Sign is what his album was called. Very interesting concept. I know we always say Dolla Sign does not miss some features. And with 25 songs, I don't know how to feel. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it about a 7.5 because there were some songs in there I really didn't like care about, but there was also some good songs on there, some good features. He had a bunch of features on there. Of course, as it was, the whole gimmick was him featuring on the song. So I mean, it was an interesting concept. Playing on that quote, so make an album of just a bunch of Dolla Sign features. And really, with a 25-song album, it's very hard, I think, for any artist with a 20-song album. You have to be very, very, very good for me to really try to listen and enjoy a 25-song album. And I will give him credit on this. It was actually a very cohesive. There's a lot of time I was like, wait, I couldn't tell when a song ended because that's how well he did with branching the songs into each other, and they kind of just all kind of flowed into each other. You really couldn't tell if you were listening to the album top to bottom. So I mean, just an interesting concept. He executed it well, but again, I think maybe it's just how much you enjoy Dolla Sign as an artist. Again, solid album, but nothing too crazy. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Powder Blue by Gunna, I think, was my favorite song off of first listen. I'm the type of person where I need to listen to something multiple times for me to really start to evaluate and kind of enjoy it. So that's the deal with that. Oh, in another music news, Certified Lover Boy is coming January 2021. So also happy birthday to Drake. His birthday was on Saturday. He is 34. It's also Scorpio season, like I said at the top of this podcast. Nelson Rhodes' birthday. Certified Lover Boy will be out January 2021. That feels so far away, but we'll take it. At least we have a release date. It makes me wonder what's to come in these next couple months and couple weeks. Who's dropping? Because I feel like, not that Drake needs to move his release date for anybody, but it's actually probably the opposite. But I wonder if he knows like some of his friends or acquaintances that are dropping that he doesn't really want to step on. That's why it's in January now, or he just wanted to help refine the album, make it as good as it can be. I knew it wasn't coming in October because I feel like he announced it was going to happen last Friday, and of course Ariana's coming out next Friday, this Friday, so we know he's not going to drop the same day as Ariana. But nonetheless, moving on, I'll talk about the MLB before I get to the NFL. We'll end with the NFL and then go into the roundup. MLB Game 5 last night. This has been a really good series. Randy Rosarina continues to play like Prime Willie Mays, but it's the Dodgers that were still in the show. Kershaw put in a pretty good shift, for playoff Kershaw, and really the Dodgers pitching has been lights out, so shout out to them. And they played a great game yesterday. Max Muncy, big home run. Him, Bellinger, Justin Turner. That Dodgers offense has been putting it on. I think 9 different players have hit a home run in this series, which is a record. And yeah, the Dodgers are a game away from ending their curse and finally fulfilling the team of destiny, aura and status. Red Sox fans in shambles because Mookie Betts might get a ring. So that's great to see. Like I said, I really had no preference. I had the Dodgers winning this series, and it looks like my prediction might be right. But I'll definitely be tuning in for Game 6 and Game 7 if needed. And great series though so far for the MLB. Been very, very entertaining to watch as a neutral fan. Moving on to the NFL. And actually breaking news, before I even get into that game, as I just opened up my ESPN app, though you will know by the time you read this, of course, or watch this, Odell Beckham Jr. out for the season, torn ACL. I'm kind of surprised that was the injury. I'm trying to figure out where he got hurt, though. I know he got hurt on the jump, on the chase down from the pick, but I didn't think that was serious enough for a torn ACL, even though he was in a lot of pain. Hate to see that. He was having a pretty good season, but people have been saying Baker plays better without him. Actually, I'll just jump right into that game. I'll transition into it. But people have been saying Baker plays better without OBJ. I don't really know. Statistically speaking, yes, but I think losing a receiver, a number one receiver caliber of OBJ is always going to hurt your team. But nonetheless, that was a very good game. Passed to number one overall picks. Well, two passes, number one overall picks. Baker, Burrow, both of them showed out. Browns, of course, won 37-34. Baker threw the game winner to Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I think is going to step up big time and really show off the talent. I think he was still in the 6th round. I think he was a little bit underutilized at Michigan, though some of that was him not as developing as much as he could have, being a former 5-star. But I think DPJ is really going to have a really good finish to the season with OBJ being out now. Burrow balled out 35 for 47, 406, 3 touchdowns, can't fall him. Tyler Boyd, 11 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. T. Higgins also had a great game. He was on my fantasy bench, so that hurt. But I still might win this week. We'll see. Baker Mayfield. I know maybe some of you have seen that Heisman House commercial where it's, I think it's Charles Woodson or whoever, basically putting pressure on Baker so he performs. That commercial is on point. Baker Mayfield has to have some type of pressure or some type of chip on his shoulder for him to play like Baker Mayfield. He goes from to all of a sudden this is the Heisman winner, one of the best quarterbacks in the world, Baker Mayfield, when pressure is on. He went 22 for 28, 297, 5 touchdowns, had the 1 pick. He started off the game 0 for 5. 0 for 5. He finished 22 for 23 with 5 touchdowns. Ridiculous performance by Baker. Always been a Mayfield believer. And I think he's just, of course, I would listen. I would hope if you're watching the 815 exchange, you have common sense. So when I say this, I am by no means comparing him to him. Absolutely not. But I think he's one of those guys like Michael Jordan that needs to have some type of chip on their shoulder, some kind of grudge, something to make them angry because they play better when they have that motivation to overcome some type of odds or some type of doubters. I think Baker's one of those guys where he needs that to play to the best of his abilities, and played to the best of his abilities yesterday. No Baker slander this week, absolutely none. The NFC North is, the AFC North is the anti-NFC East. It's an absolute bloodbath over there. Even Cincinnati, who's 1-5-1 now, are not really getting, they're putting up, pretty competitive games, putting up a little bit of a fight here. But Cleveland, 5-2. Wild card, I don't know if they're going to win. Well, they might win the division. You never know. You never know in football. It's certainly possible. I started stuttering there at the end because I don't know how to go about this. I've been getting calls from people asking me what happened. Washington 25, Dallas 3. Pain. You know, I would really say it's pain. This top 5 pick gonna hit different though, you know. This top 5 pick is gonna hit very different. You know, I don't know why John Bostic decided to decapitate our backup quarterback. So now our 7th round, I think, third stringer is now our starting quarterback. The team is giving up. The season's a wash. Defense can't stop anybody. Offense has no type of, you know, rhythm. And the team showing a very much so a lack of heart. McCarthy's having pretty much the worst start you could imagine as him as head coach. I am not sold. I am not sold at all. I'm very concerned. Very concerned. Losing to Washington. This is not even a good This is not even a competitive Washington team. That's how bad we are. But it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Jamar, well, now we don't need receiver. Panee Sewell, come on down. Whoever the best, Gregory was still, whoever the best defensive player in the draft, we need him. We need him. We need him. We need all the help we can get right about now, except for receivers. We got on that. And we got Zeke. And Dak when he gets back. Well, we need everything else. Like I said, I tweeted it out. Trevon Diggs, I don't know why people got their hopes up about Trevon Diggs. I knew he was a bum last year. If anybody saw Alabama play any type of competition, you knew what was going to happen. You saw how Jamar Chase made him look like a baby. So when Terry McLaurin blew right past him, bro got called for what, holding or PI, doesn't even matter, got called for a flag. McLaurin, you know, looks like a McLaren, blows right by him, scores a touchdown and rocks the baby. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. We suck. There's nothing really else to say about it. Cowboys suck. We lost to a team without a map. We lost to a team without a mascot. Lions and Falcons. Moving on. The Falcons. Falcons fans, I feel you. I really do. I feel for you. Atlanta sports fans in general, I feel for you. I don't know how you continue to find increasingly more creative ways to lose games. Y'all outlost the Lions. Of course, I won't put Todd Gurley too much fault. He was just trying to break the tackle. He tried to get down. Same thing that happened to Devin Ford in the Penn State Indiana game happened to y'all. Gurley can't get down. And the L convinces the Lions score a touchdown late. Pain, Atlanta. Just pain. That top pick is going to hit super different, though. I promise you, these top 5 picks that we're about to get are going to hit so different. We won't even care about being awful. Moving on, Steelers Titans, another exciting game. Steven Gostkowski is washed. If you didn't know, now you know. He misses the field goal to send it to overtime. Tannehill played decent. Roethlisberger threw 3 picks and they still won. I don't know why he threw that ball to Juju before they got bailed out. Don't know why he threw that ball in triple coverage. That was never going to work. Juju had a solid game, 9 receptions, 85 yards. Connor's 100-yard streak is broken. He had 20 for 82, which isn't bad. Derrick Henry, I know a lot of people were talking about the Steelers defense versus Derrick Henry. Well, King Henry had some resistance. 20 attempts, only 75 yards, had a touchdown though. But A.J. Brown really led for the Titans. They had 6 receptions, 153. But yeah, Steelers 6-0, best record in the league. Only undefeated team I think left. They look like they're for real. Titans also look like they're for real. Still a very good team. But Steelers get it on this day. In another game that finished 27-24, we had the Saints and the Panthers. Breeze had 3 total TDs. AK-41 had 14 carries, 83 yards. Teddy H2O returns to New Orleans. Pretty good performance for him, 23 for 28, 254, 2 touchdowns. But Saints get it done. They move to 4-2. They're going to have to really catch fire here down the stretch. A lot of questions about when Michael Thomas is coming back. But yeah, they're gonna have to have a really good stretch of the season here because the Bucks are getting increasingly better, in which I will talk about when I get to that Bucks game. Bills take out the Jets, 18-10 in a very defensive battle. Josh Allen goes for over 307. Sam Darnold shows flashes, but also shows why many people think that the Jets at 0-7 will be picking Trevor Lawrence first overall. 12 for 23, 120, 2 interceptions. You can't do that. You just can't do that. Yeah, Bills just outplayed them. Tyler Bass. Dream game for a kicker. Absolute dream game for a kicker. He was probably player of the game. A 53-yarder, a 48-yarder, a 46-yarder, a 37-yarder, a 29-yarder, and a 40-yarder. The man had 6 field goals. That was all of the Bills' points. That should tell you about the state of the Jets also. Moving on, Packers-Texans. Packers win 35-20. Texans suck. I feel bad for Deshaun. He's doing everything he can, but just know how the Texans are just bad. There's a lot of teams that are like sitting at that 1-6 mark, I feel. But yeah, Packers, Rodgers still looking like an MVP candidate. 23 for 34, 283, 4 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 13, 196, and 2 touchdowns himself. Packers moved to 5-1, looking like contenders. Good defense as well for them. Yeah. Now, before I get to this Bucks-Raiders game in which the Bucks won 45-20, of course the big news for Tampa Bay this week, Antonio Brown is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. You know, because the Bucks needed more weapons to go with the great Scotty Miller, the great Chris Godwin, the great Mike Evans, the great Cameron Brate, the great Rob Gronkowski, the great Ronald Jones III, the great Leonard Fournette. They just needed, some more weapons for Tom Brady. Brady, 33 for 45, 369, 4 touchdowns. Scotty Miller, 6 receptions, 109, 1 touchdown. Nelson Aguilar played one of the best games he's played as a Raider. 5 receptions, 107, and a touchdown. Bucks are definitely one of the, like I said, this team is going to get better as the season goes on. They're looking better and better every single week. Definitely a title contender, especially bringing in AB, especially if they can keep, his head on. He doesn't act like a head case, and we see AB play like AB. It's going to be very interesting to see if there's any team that can stop the Bucks. And they got a defense. Next game on the docket, we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs dominate 43-16. No competition here. Locked those 2 picks. Mahomes didn't even have a really major day. Just a very good all-around team performance for the Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a touchdown. But yeah, very complete game for the Chiefs. Good for them to get back into the winning column. They moved to 6-1. Of course, we all expected the Chiefs to be one of the best teams this year. This is no surprise. But yeah, very good for them to see that Mahomes doesn't need to have a monster game for them to be successful. So big for them. Coronavirus took all of. COVID has taken Cam Newton's powers. 49ers, 33. Patriots, 6. Garoppolo threw 2 picks. It still was not the worst quarterback in this game. Cam Newton, 9 for 15. 98 yards, 3 interceptions. Now, I said Cam was going to be comeback player of the year, but I don't know what happened. COVID he's reverted back to injured Cam. This is not looking like the Cam we saw those first couple weeks of the season. Or maybe that was just kind of smoke and mirrors and this is the real deal. This is what Cam is now. That very well may be what the answer is. But yeah, Johnny Wilson Jr. had a big game. Even the Patriots defense is faulty. I don't think we've ever seen a Pats team this bad in a while. And we kind of anticipated this with Brady leaving. Pats are now 2-4. Johnny Wilson Jr. for the 49ers running back. 17 carries, 112 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Great performance for him. But yeah, Pats are in trouble. Pats are in a lot of trouble. If they can't get this going, they're going to be having a top 10 pick He's sitting here with all the rest of us in the cellar. Chargers, Justin Herbert, Rookie of the Year candidate. He's on pace for the best rookie season for a quarterback ever. 27 for 43, 347, 3 touchdowns. Arnold told me that Justin Herbert was going to be a bust. Now, I'm not saying I thought he was going to be a superstar, but I could see him being a pretty good quarterback. But everybody in their mamas was like, Herbert's going to be a bust. I don't see it. He's also in a great environment. He's got Keenan Allen and Mike Evans. Josh Kelly's a pretty good running back as well. He's got Austin Eckler, even though Eckler's hurt. He's in a very good situation, I believe, and that's helping him out throughout this as a rookie. He's got way better weapons, not just because it's the NFL, but way better weapons around him if you scale it than what he had in Oregon. I think Herbert's proven that I was wrong. Even though the 2-4 this is his first career win, he's playing great. He's not the problem. On the other hand, the Jaguars are exactly who we thought the Jaguars were. Gardner Minshew, his stats don't look bad, but he was not that very good if you watch the game. Robinson continues to be a revelation for them, though. 22 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. But this game was all Chargers. Jalen Guyton starting to break out as a great deep threat. Chargers, they might start to turn it around here, especially if Herbert can keep playing the way he's been playing. And lastly, of course, in the big game of the week, one I absolutely had to watch, in one of the games of the year, overtime, Cardinals 37, Seahawks 34. Let's talk about it. DK Metcalf. Shout out to Buda Baker who acknowledged it. But DK Metcalf is not human. We all know this. He hit 22 miles per hour, I think they said, on that chase down. Absolutely ridiculous. Ends up being kind of a game winner because it saved him 7 points. Russ did not have his finest game at all. But Tyler Lockett did. Absolutely dominant performance for Lockett. See if I can pull up his stats. Yeah, 15 receptions, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, over 50 fantasy points for those that play fantasy. Russ threw 3 picks. Kyler Murray was Kyler Murray. Then a game between the 2 short kings. Kyler truly put on for the short kings of the world. 34 for 48, 360, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Hop, best receiver in the league. 10 receptions, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. I know Deshaun wishes he's had that right now. And yeah, I had the Cardinals pulling the upset, knocking the Seahawks from the rank of the undefeateds, and it happened. So props for myself, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting NFC West. In the race between these 2 teams, I think it's always going to be a good, very exciting matchup between these 2. And yeah, it's going to be a great matchup going into the future. A lot of good young talent in both of those teams, especially the Cardinals. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes for those 2. But yeah, Kyler and Russ, DK and Lockett showed out though. But Cardinals get the win in overtime. Zane all 6-48 yarder to send us home with 15 seconds left, almost out of time. But yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the roundup of what has been a very full episode. And I'll start it off with some college basketball recruiting. Yes, find some college basketball stuff. Number 14 player in the country, one of the best guards in the country, one of the best guards in the class of 2022, Skyy Clark, commits to UK. He's a very special talent in my eyes. One of the best scorers in that 2022 class, which is also maybe known as the Monty Bates class, depending on who you ask. Because Victor Wembanyama is also making some noise after that video of him and Rudy Gobert came out. But this is about Skyy. Yeah, great combo guard. I think he's eventually going to be selling more as a point guard as he refines his playmaking. We know he can score. And that's his greatest asset. Got a great handle. Great player. His younger brother is also one to watch out for in that 2024 class. ZZ. And yeah, Kentucky got a good one. We'll see if he stays. I think he will. And yeah. In Formula One, first time I've covered Formula One on here. We've been talking about a lot of GOATs. in this episode. Well, let's talk about the Formula One GOATs. Lewis Hamilton wins his 92nd in Formula One in Portugal in the Portuguese Grand Prix. He passes the great Michael Schumacher. Lewis, best of all time. Dominant season. I think that's his 8th win this year. Just dominating Formula One. I'm starting to get more into F1. They got some interesting storylines. The fans are great. So, big win for Hamilton. Truly becomes the statistic. I know you could say he's the GOAT, but statistically now he's absolutely the greatest F1 driver of all time. In soccer now, I'll move on to in the young talent ranks, in the youth ranks, the U19 ranks. Borussia Dortmund, I've mentioned him as one of my favorite teams. Yusufu Mukoku. He's been one of the most hyped youngsters with that insane goal scoring record he's had in the youth leagues. This season, Mukoku has 13 goals in 4 games. He has scored a hat trick, at least a hat trick, in all 4 of those games. He's ready. I think he got registered for the Champions League. Champions League is back, by the way. Mukoku's ready. I don't know what Dortmund's waiting on. It's time. He is child's play for him. It's too easy. 16 years old. It's time. Another great youngster, another great youth player that's gotten hype over the years is Xavi Simons. 15 goals and assists in 7 games for the PSG Youth Academy. He is also ready. PSG, y'all need help in the midfield anyway. It's time to get him up with the first. He's already training with the first team. Both of them, him and Mukoku, are training with their respective first teams already. But would like to see them get caught up. I think they'll get caught up sooner than later anyway. But would like to see them start to get some action. 2 of the most talented youngsters I think we have in world football. Very excited to see how they do. Another talented youngster is Ansu Fati. He scored the lone goal for Barcelona as El Clasico went not the way of Barca. Real Madrid wins 3-1. Ramos, Modric finished him off. Valverde got a goal. Zidane, masterclass. Coman, disaster class. Levels to this. Messi looks distraught again, but Real Madrid clearly the better team. Barca still sucks. They're good, but they suck. If you understand what that means. Messi is gone. I still think he's going to leave. I think he wants to be gone right now. I don't think Coleman's going to be the guy, especially after seeing he waited to the 80th minute, had some guys out there doing absolutely nothing, and waited so long, so long to make those changes. And it ends up costing him. Fatigue, one of the best young players in the world. Definitely want to look out for. 17 years old, special talent. Moving over to the Bundesliga, Bayern dominating still the best team on the planet. Robin Lewandowski still playing like the best player on the planet. He got a hat trick against Stuttgart. In Champions League, they won 4 against Atletico Madrid, who are no joke. Bayern dominant. Leroy Sané is coming, and it's just they may repeat. To be completely honest, to be completely transparent, I would not be shocked if they repeat. I don't know if there's a team in world football on their level right now. Moving to the Premier League, Chelsea had back-to-back 0-0 draws, but that's 2 clean sheets. We know they've had goalkeeper trouble with Kepa, who's mediocre, but brought in Benjamin Mendy. He's been much better, making saves, taking off some of that pressure for Chelsea's fans. Their defense has also been looked much improved with Thiago Silva back there. Just need to get that offense going again with Havertz, Werner, Pulisic is back, so that's great news for them. Mount, Tammy, just need to get those guys going again, and all will be good for Chelsea. But without further ado, that is all I have for today's episode. This was a very full episode. I think it was a pretty good episode. There's plenty to talk about. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. If you have any suggestions, I'm looking to diversify the channel and branch into some other things. So if you have something you want to see me talk about, or see me do, or see me play, or whatever, just let me know. I'm open to suggestion. Yeah, appreciate the support. Like, share, and subscribe as always. Spooky season is fully underway. Have a happy Halloween. Alright, y'all.